My name is Michael, and I'm 26 years old. I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me last year, something that is impossible to forget. I have been married to Anna for 5 years now, and we have always had a good relationship with her parents. Her mother, Claudia, is 49 years old, but she looks younger. She takes good care of herself, exercises regularly, and always dresses well. My father-in-law, James, is a simple working man who likes to drink, especially on holidays. He is funny, outgoing, and always tries to make everyone laugh. It was on his birthday that everything happened, and it changed Claudia and I's relationship. They had about 15 guests gathered at their house. It was a mix of family and friends, and everyone was having a lot of fun. There was laughter and music, and the atmosphere was lively. By the evening, James had had more than enough to drink and was slurring his words, going from guest to guest, joking and reminiscing about old times. Anna sat in the living room, chatting with the other guests about work, family, and anything else that came to mind. I went to the kitchen to get a new bottle of wine, and that's when I saw Claudia. She was preparing a salad with her back turned to me and concentrating on chopping vegetables. The noise and chatter of the party was muted, and it seemed to me that we were in our own little world for a moment. I remember her turning to me, with a look in her eyes that I hadn't noticed before. She came up behind me and helped me with the bottle, pressing herself against me and putting her hand where it shouldn't have been. My heart was racing and I froze, not knowing what to do. She whispered in my ear, her breath burning my skin, and she told me to go behind the house where the old cellar was in 5 minutes. The shock of it paralyzed me for a second. I didn't know what to say or do. But I went outside for a smoke, feeling the cool night air trying to clear my head. I stood for a while, looking back at the house, and eventually made my way toward the basement, my mind all mixed up, confusion, curiosity, and impulse. Claudia was already there, waiting. The basement was dark, the only light coming from the dim glow of the porch light coming through the cracks. It had all happened so quickly, driven by emotion, the impulse and adrenaline of the situation. There was something surreal about it all. The cool air, the quiet night, the illegality of what was happening. It was over in a matter of moments, but it left a deep mark that could never be erased. We both knew we had crossed a line beyond which we could never go back. Afterward, we both went back to the party pretending that nothing had happened. Anna was still chatting with her friends, completely uncomprehending, and James was snoring loudly in his chair, head thrown back, not paying attention to anything. The guests were slowly getting ready to leave, saying their goodbyes. On the way home, I burned with embarrassment. Anna assumed I was just tired and asked if I was okay. I mumbled something, not believing I could speak, feeling my face blush under her concerned gaze. I couldn't look her in the eye and just kept staring out the window, the streetlights flickering behind me. The next day, Claudia texted me, asking me to forget the whole thing, saying it was a mistake, and she didn't know what had gotten into her. I agreed. Of course I should forget, but how do you forget something like that? The surge of emotions, the sense of danger, and now the overwhelming sense of guilt, all of it never left me. Now, every time we visit my relatives, I feel guilty. I look at James and feel a wave of shame wash over me as I realize what I've done behind his back. I look at Anna, who was always so kind and trusting, and I feel even worse. It's been over 5 months, and Claudia, and I pretend like nothing happened. We socialize like a normal mother-in-law and son-in-law, making small talk, acting casual, but sometimes our eyes meet, and it's like an electric shock. In those moments we remember everything, how we acted on impulse, adrenaline, and the guilt that follows. It's a tacit admission of our shared secret that we both now have to live with. It's even worse when Claudia visits us. She sits at our table, chatting with Anna, asking how her day was playing with our son, and I have to pretend everything is fine. I have to pretend that I don't remember what happened, that I don't feel the weight of our mistake every time I see her. It's suffocating, and I find myself making excuses to leave the room when she's around. Anna, of course, doesn't know. How can I tell her I slept with her mother on her father's birthday? She will never forgive me, and I don't want to destroy our family. We have a child who deserves to grow up in a happy home, surrounded by parents who love each other without secrets. James doesn't suspect anything either. He doesn't remember much about that night, having drunk more than usual. Maybe it's for the best. I can't imagine what he'd do if he found out. He's a simple man, but fiercely protective of his family. I know it would break him. He's worked so hard to provide Anna with everything she needs, and I betrayed him in the worst possible way. Sometimes I wonder how I could have let it happen. I hadn't even had that much to drink, enough to feel a little relaxed. I knew exactly what I was doing, and I decided to do it anyway. One moment of weakness, one terrible decision, and now I have to live with it. Claudia's suffering too. I can see it in her eyes, in the way she avoids being alone with me, in the way her smile disappears when our gazes meet. She must be blaming herself as much as I am. It's a shared burden, but that doesn't make it any easier. Every time we come together, the shame and guilt return, along with that strange, inexplicable feeling I experienced that night. It wasn't just guilt, it was a mixture of emotions I can't fully understand. A sense of elation mixed with the crushing weight of offense. I know Claudia feels the same way. We never spoke about it again, but that silence speaks volumes. It's a constant reminder of what we did and the consequences that could come if the truth ever came out. Now I try to visit my mother-in-law as little as possible. I make excuses, work errands, anything to avoid being there. Anna is hurt by this. She says that I've forgotten her parents, that I don't care about them anymore. She doesn't understand why I'm distant, why I don't want to spend time with them like I used to. She thinks I'm just busy or tired, but the truth is, I can't look them in the eye. I can't bear to see the look in Claudia's eyes or the trust in James's smile. I can't bear to feel the warmth of Anna's love, knowing what I've done. Sometimes, late at night, lying in bed next to Anna, I think about that night in the basement. I think about how things could have been different if I had just walked away, if I had said no. I wonder what kind of person I am, that I could betray the two people who trust me the most. And I know I will never be able to forgive myself. This is a secret I will carry with me for the rest of my life, a burden I must carry alone for the sake of my family, for Anna, for our son, for the life we built together. I can't let one mistake ruin everything, but it haunts me, and I know it always will. It's unbearably hard, but I have no choice but to endure for their sake.